Look, most of you watching this explainer probably think you're pretty cultured, right? You're spreading that trendy green mash on your morning sourdough bread, feeling great about your life choices. But frankly, most of you have absolutely no idea that your favorite toast topping is, technically speaking, a biological ghost. Okay, let's dive into this because the only reason you can even buy an avocado today is that ancient humans made a deliberate, frankly bizarre choice to save a plant that was entirely 100% doomed to extinction. It's just a biological fact. Your favorite toast topping literally shouldn't exist. This fruit evolved specifically to be eaten by Ice Age giants that died out roughly 10,000 years ago. So when its original partners vanished from the earth, the avocado was left completely stranded. It became totally incapable of surviving on its own. It's basically a survival masterpiece that completely lost its purpose. And today, we're going to look at exactly how it managed to cheat death. The mechanics of its doom come down to something biologists call megafauna syndrome. I mean, it's fairly obvious if you just look at the fruit, right? That massive pit taking up half the space inside is completely useless today. In the wild, a fruit depends entirely on animals to eat the seed whole, pass it through their digestive tract, and, well, plant it somewhere else. But because the avocado's target audience is dead, it technically has absolutely no natural way to move around in the wild anymore.
The sheer absurdity of this situation is obvious when you just compare the two. On the left, we have the original target audience, literal Ice Age monsters. Back in the day, avocados were the go-to snack for massive creatures like the gomphothere and the giant ground sloth. We're talking animals large enough to gulp down the entire fruit, pit and all, without even a second thought. And on the right, well, that's us, noodle-armed humans delicately dissecting it with expensive kitchen knives. When those giants went extinct, the avocado was left stranded without any natural way to reproduce.
So, moving on to part 1, awkward names and PR rebrands. Because once humans took over the job of the giant ground sloth, we had to figure out what to call this thing. And I'll tell you right now, our early attempts at labeling this fruit were incredibly awkward.
Yes, you are reading that quote correctly. Long before it was a global health trend, the Aztecs had a very specific name for this fruit, avocado. And in their language, that literally translates to testicle. Why? Well, purely because of how the fruit hangs in heavy pairs on the tree, along with its very unique shape. It was a completely literal botanical description, sure, but one that made later explorers incredibly uncomfortable.
Which brings me to a very serious question for all of you watching right now. If you walked into a cafe tomorrow and found out your favorite breakfast item was reverting to its original name, would you still confidently order a smash of testicle on your toast? I highly doubt it, but hey, let me know if you'd be brave enough to stick with it.
The linguistic evolution that followed was honestly just absurd. When the Spanish colonizers arrived in the 1500s, they actually really liked the fruit, but they absolutely could not pronounce the Aztec name. So, out of a simple inability to say the word properly, they twisted avocado into avocade. It was just a linguistic glitch. Fast forward to the 1800s, and English speakers had invented their own totally bizarre name for it. Because of its bumpy, dark green skin and pear-like shape, the name alligator pear stuck for centuries. Seriously, if you lived back then, you weren't shopping for an avocado. You were hunting for a scaly pear.
But then came the 1900s California luxury rebrand. Growers in California quickly realized that alligator pear is an absolutely terrible marketing angle if you want to sell a luxury food item to wealthy consumers. People don't want to think about swamp reptiles when they're eating. So they officially pushed for the name avocado to give the fruit a more exotic, high-end feel. And honestly, it remains one of the most successful manipulative PR rebrands in history.
All right, part 2, a survival energy bank. Let's drop the historical mockery for a second here, because despite its incredibly embarrassing branding history, I'm going to inform you exactly why this awkwardly named ancient fruit is actually a modern homesteader's absolute dream.
Just look at that number, 325. That is the amount of calories packed into just a single medium avocado. In a survival garden, the avocado is a heavyweight champion. It is a literal biological energy bank. When you're looking for a massive return on your growing effort in a survival scenario, absolutely nothing matches the sheer, dense energy provided by this single plant.
The nutritional makeup is exactly why it stands apart from literally everything else in the garden. Most of you probably assume fruits have zero protein and are essentially just bags of water and sugar, right? Well, the avocado is a total outlier. It offers about 370 calories per cup, providing healthy fats that are incredibly hard to find in a survival situation, and it's surprisingly rich in protein compared to typical fruits. Combined with that high fat content, it's one of the very few plants that can actually act as a legitimate meat replacement in a pinch.
I know exactly what you're thinking. But wait, don't avocados usually need warm weather, like zone 8 and above? Yes, but survivalists have a brilliant hack for growing them even in cold climates. Step 1. You grow the avocados in large pots. Step 2. When the temperature drops, you simply drag the containers inside. This allows you to keep an Ice Age survivor alive and producing high-calorie food in places where it technically has no business growing at all.
When you really step back and look at this entire story, it's honestly kind of humbling. We took a fruit that by all laws of nature should have died out 10,000 years ago alongside the giant ground sloths. We renamed it simply because testicle was too awkward for our modern sensibilities, and then we turned it into a multi-billion-dollar global industry. Guys, we are the new sloths. We are the sole transporters responsible for keeping this biological ghost alive on this planet.
A plant evolved for the digestive tract of a monstrous, extinct Ice Age beast is now delicately sliced onto your trendy morning toast. Now that's absolutely wild. So the next time you pay extra for that avocado spread, ask yourself, are you eating a superfood or just keeping a biological ghost on life support?